All right, all right, all right. It is Tuesday evening, and thank you for tuning in to the Real Money Coach Show. Listen, we have a phenomenal show planned for you tonight. We have none other in the house tonight, will be the one and only Dr. Shock Matthews, the good Reverend Dr. Shock. Um, Matthews will be our special guest tonight. And so we're looking forward to having a wonderful conversation with him this evening. So here's what we do. Here's what we do on the Real Money Coach Show is wherever you're listening from, what city, what state, put it into the chat. Let us know that you are there, that you're watching, where you may be in the state or in the country or on the continent, wherever you may be. We want to know that you are there. Thank you all for tuning in. Listen, I have Charles from California. I got Teresa from Los Angeles tuning in. I have Kimberly from North Carolina tuning in. And so we see that there's a lot more y'all than that. So just put it in the chat. Let us know so we can give you a shout out. Someone's coming through the Facebook private group because it simply says Facebook user. So if you're in that private Facebook group, you do have to put your name so that we know who you are. Lisa, thank you from Atlanta, Georgia, originally from Richmond, California. Wow, just a great showing tonight. You guys are coming in beautifully. I want to remind everyone this is that the show that you're going to see tonight will be released as a podcast on all of your podcasting channels, right? So Apple, Spotify, Google, all of them, Pandora, you name it. It is going to be out there, Pinterest, all of them. Wherever you get your podcast, you will be able to get the podcast version of this show that's normally released on Friday. So we want to make sure that you do that. And I want to remind everyone of this. Many of you have seen some of the shorts and stuff I put out. Got a lot of great comments on the the little video that I did last week that was called, uh, you know, annuities, fixed index annuities versus savings accounts. So if you didn't get a chance to see that video, make sure you go to our webpage, therealmoneycoach.com. Take a look at that video. I think I have that video on there in two different places. One was when I did my radio minute that I do on Radio 1, 105.3 R&B here in Charlotte, and also Praise 100.9 here in Charlotte. Let me just catch up a little bit. We got Queen from Los Angeles. We got Brad Hudson from Belmont. So are also watching. So we want to give a shout out to all of the folks who are tuning in. I do want to have you do this, though. I do want everyone to go to our webpage. I did a little updates to it. We kind of refreshed and did a little bit. Also, you will see a link there where you can buy my book, and I happen to have one on my desk, Increase, Protect, and Dominate Your Money. There's a link right there now. I'm migrating from its own website, incorporating that on my website. Increase, Protect, and Dominate Your Money is available there on the website. So with that, let me do this. Let me bring in my co-host. You all know her, and she is the founder, the CEO, the HNIC of Mitchell Consulting, Michelle Mitchell. How you doing, Michelle?
I'm good, Tony. How you doing today?
See how I give you all them titles?
I know, right?
But Michelle, just man, I'd seen some of the stuff that you guys put out. The financial roundtable. Tell us a little bit about how the financial roundtable went on Wednesday.
Oh yeah, it was good. The financial roundtable, like, is picking up steam, y'all. So you need to get on board. We talked about how like timelines for businesses right now, because we have a few deadlines coming up at the end of January for business owners. So if you've paid anyone in your business, you need to send them a 1099. Before you send them a 1099, you need to collect a W-9 from them. So we talked about strategies on how to stay on top of that and how we do it here at Mitchell Consulting, so that we're not stressed in January, because I don't do stress. So and then our W-2s go out to employees on January 31st as well. So if you have any adjustments to payroll for the year of 2023, you gotta get those done like ASAP, because they're going out January 31st. So roundtable was really good. We pick a topic every month that is pertinent to business owners, and we just have Q&A sessions about it, and my team answers questions, and they do a great job.
And so that's normally the financial roundtable is normally, I think it's normally on a Wednesday, because I know
It's on a Wednesday, the second Wednesday of the month at 1 p.m. Eastern. Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to have to make sure I wrap up my radio time early next Wednesday so I can get in there and get some of that great information. Let me just tell this story real quick, Michelle. When I won't name the church, right? But when I first, I got saved, I joined the church and everything. And because I was an accountant, you know what they did? They made me the treasurer, right?
Right.
And I was like, hold up, wait a minute. You paying all these people? And so we started this. We're like, okay, listen, if you got hours and that, okay, you're gonna get a W-2 from the church. They're like, wait a minute,
exactly.
I can afford this money. What are you talking about?
Yes.
And then here's the thing: culture change.
Yes.
Before the preacher got his check, he had to give me a W-9.
A W-9 is like, an exchange. Right?
Huh?
Yes. Yes. So, we do things on the up and up. We will exchange the W-9 for the actual payment. So
so it was a culture change, but that's what happened. And we need it. We need it. We need to get our house in order, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because, just think about it. Those churches that did do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
That did make that transition. They did the W-2s. They did the thing the right way. When PPP time came along,
absolutely,
they were eligible to get it, right? And
absolutely.
And then the ERC, right,
and
as well.
ERC,
all those things. So having those things in order and not just flying by the seat of our pants is important.
Right.
Is important.
Yes, absolutely.
So, Michelle, here's the thing. We got a phenomenal guest that's coming on. I'm going to introduce him after we take a short break. And I believe that we're going to enjoy ourselves with 30 seconds of a commercial from Mitchell Consulting. Let's roll with that. Take a quick break, and we'll be right back, and I'll introduce our guest.
Do you have passion for your business but feel like your finances are falling short? Running a business takes more than a great idea. It takes a solid financial plan. Mitchell Consulting can help you turn your passion into profit with their financial advisory services. Get the financial guidance your business needs. Contact Mitchell Consulting to learn more about their passion to profit capabilities. Lovely.
I love the commercial. Listen, let me do this real quick. Let me introduce. I'm just going to say really just about 3 or 4 lines about our guest tonight, and then we're going to let him fill in the details and let him share with us as his heart leads and as the Spirit leads. So who we have with us tonight is the Reverend Dr. Philippe Shock Matthews. Now, I'm going to tell you this. He's renowned for his work on the digital divide. I'm talking AI, right? And he's a Black mental health and Black trauma. So he's done work in the digital divide, Black mental health, Black trauma. He specializes in the diaspora, emphasizing the philosophy that, listen to this. I love this. Shout out to Reverend Blakely. Thank you for being here. Listen to this. Nothing is wrong with Black people. We could end it right there.
Yeah.
Right? This is the title. This is the title now.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing wrong with Black people. Something happened to Black people. Come on. All right. So without any further ado, let's bring Dr. Shock on the mic and on the stage with us. Dr. Shock, how you doing tonight?
I am fantastic, beloved. I am fantastic. Thank you for that introduction. Wow, that was pretty awesome. Make me feel like a
you know,
celebrity up
man,
in here.
it's easy. It's easy with somebody with your credentials to make an introduction awesome. And so, man, I can't wait to kind of dig in to some of the conversation that we're going to have tonight. And we were introduced by Jimmy Davies from Every Dot Black, and a really great guy there. And I know we're going to talk about some of the things that you and he are going to do together coming up
Absolutely.
at the end of the month in terms of with AI, to Chat GPT in particular. So, man, just give us a little bit about your background. I know that you're from the Windy City, now residing out in California. Now, here's the thing, too, Dr. Shock. We might have to have a little conversation offline because
Sure.
I come from a line of Matthews with two T's. So
Oh
I don't know.
wow.
In
Oh wow.
Chicago, by the way, in
Awesome.
Chicago. When I
So
was telling you earlier that my aunt that lived at 189th
yes.
or 89th and Stony Island in Chicago, she's a Matthews. She's a
Mhm.
Matthews.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
With two
yeah,
T's.
with two
With two T's.
T's. Because there's
Oh,
people spell it different ways.
that's
Some
right.
play
That's right.
with one T, some play it with two T's. That's why the two T Michelle was like with two T's, right? So
Well, we,
we'll
we
have to
know
have that
we had papas that
conversation.
was Rolling Stones. They've been around, so you know, there's a lot of us. There's
Yeah,
a lot
yep.
of us. I
So
just found out that actually our surnames are not our slave names. That they actually stole our surnames. Those were our actual names. When we founded we populated the entire planet, but we founded Ireland and we founded
mhm.
every continent. And there's no such thing as a slave name. Those are our actual names. They stole that too. As I said, nothing's wrong with black people. Something happened to black people, but we'll get into it. Go ahead.
Well, go ahead and tell the folks a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your background, and your expertise, that type of thing, and then we'll get into it.
Well, thank you, brother. I prepared for tonight because I wanted to get my hair. I got my hair done and everything, so I wanted to make sure that I was right for the show. And of course, you're gonna put me on a big screen just in the middle. I was looking forward to looking at somebody on the screen. That's all right. If I'd have known that, I would have done a PowerPoint presentation, and I would have really done my hair. So my name is Reverend Dr. Philippe Shock Matthews, aka the Metaphysical Morpheus, is my kind of stage name, if you will. I am a research scientist in the field of Africana phenomenology. I have a PhD in metaphysical science and philosophy. And in my research gap, I specialize in Black trauma, Black mental health, and the digital divide, which of course would encompass AI. So what I decided to do is to take all of that and put it together in one fluffy package called Reverend Shock. And I wanted to, in the last 25 years, I've interviewed probably close to 3,000 thought leaders, change agents, and scholars in the diaspora and globally. I've written probably I'm close to about 30 books now.
Mhm.
I have special reports, academic papers that I have authored, um, and as a result of all of this research and interviewing people, and some of these people you might recognize their names. I launched a .com back in 1998 where I got an opportunity to interview people like Stedman Graham and Robert Kiyosaki and Les Brown and the late Zig Ziglar and entertainers like Gladys Knight, Patti LaBelle, In Vogue, MC Hammer. Um, but I also started interviewing a lot of authors and people like Deepak Chopra and the late Wayne Dyer, Marianne Williamson, who actually was one of the references for my doctorate. And uh, who knew that she was going to be running for president? And so I helped her on her campaign when she was talking about reparations. She endorsed my second book, Shock Philosophy, back in 2002. So I've kind of been around for a period of time in this technology world. but also as I have been around what we refer to in our research and in our framework, second frequency, being around a lot of Europeans created what's known as racial battle fatigue. And racial battle fatigue is the fatigue, both physical and psychological fatigue symptoms and problems that occur in Black people when they are in and around in proximity to European people in a European system. And so, as I began to do this work, I started to realize, wait a minute, something is going on here, because I thought something was wrong with me. When I come to find out, nothing was wrong with me. As I began to do the research, I realized nothing was wrong with me. Something happened to me, and what had happened to me was multiplicable. It was not one thing; it was multiple things that occurred. And as I began continuing going down this rabbit hole of research, I realized it's about Black trauma, and what this Black trauma does to Black bodies, and what it does to us is that it kills us. Do you know that diabetes and heart disease and all of the what they call comorbidities that Black people suffer from are racially related? They're not natural. It's because of racism and systemic racism that it happens. Now, I've been doing a lot of workshops recently on other people's panels, and I wish I had have known that I was going to be flying solo tonight. I'm talk bad about Tony in a minute, but I would have done a oh yeah, I would have done a PowerPoint presentation if I had have known I was going to be up there all, with my pretty face. You know, the hard thing is, because I'm a sex symbol. I look like Dwayne Johnson everywhere I go. People say, "Oh, is that the Rock?" I'm like, "No, no, no. I'm the lost brother that didn't make it out." It's okay. But here's the thing. I recognize that there are four traumas that all Black people need to know about. And I'm going to run them down really quickly, and then we could talk about them. And then we'll talk about how that relates to AI and the digital divide and technology. So the first trauma is genetic trauma. Genetic trauma, or epigenetics, meaning that it sits atop the DNA. It changes or alters the expression of our DNA. So if we had a natural proclivity for wealth, for asking questions, that might get turned off as a result of being a part of systemic racism and the environment that we were birthed into. So genetic trauma also goes back 14 generations, which is about 350 years. So we are all carrying the trauma of our ancestors. So that trauma, especially during the Jim Crow era, that trauma is inside us. Here we come out of the womb, and then we are now in this world where we then get bombarded with a new set of trauma, and that trauma becomes the second trauma, decontextualized trauma. And decontextualized trauma is trauma that doesn't have a time date or a timestamp as to when it was imprinted into your nervous system. So as a result of that, you're feeling some kind of way, but you're a child. You have no vocabulary, you have no way to process through it. You're at your most vulnerable state. The brain doesn't even begin to fully develop until 25, and then there's a part of the brain known as the anterior cingulate that doesn't even mature until you're 30. So if you've experienced what we now know to be the ACEs, adverse childhood experiences, if you've experienced divorce, poverty, anybody in your family, incarceration, any type of alcoholism, any type of drug use or addiction, any type of sexual addiction or sexual abuse, any of those things, you now have decontextualized trauma on top of your genetic trauma that you have come here with. Now, when that genetic trauma and decontextualized trauma gets together, it starts to look like personality. That's just the way little Jimmy is. He's always been that way. That's the way Mimi has always acted around such and such people. Nothing's wrong with him. Something happened. But we don't get this conversation, right? So then, not only do we have this decontextualized trauma, but we then are victims of what's known as secondary or vicarious trauma. How many of you have woke up, turned on your device, and you see one of us being slaughtered? and killed and murdered and brutalized by the police. Or you'll see us losing our freedom in court cases and various different things, and you'll see the worst of us on the news. That then triggers the decontextualized trauma and genetic trauma. It all gets mushed up and makes us feel some kind of way. We weren't there,
Mm.
but we feel it. And that's the decontextualized trauma that then manifests as the fourth level of trauma, which is the ghosting trauma. The ghosting trauma is that feeling like nothing's going to get better, something bad is going to happen, and so then we start to shrink our lives. We start to play small. When we were kids,
Mm.
when you're a kid, here's how you know something's going on with you. Have you ever walked up to or went up to your parents and say, "Mom and Dad, when I grow up, I want to be minimized and marginalized in life. Mom and Dad, when I grow up, I want to be a
It doesn't
single
happen.
mother. Mom and Dad, when I grow up, I want to be a thug or a thought. Mom and Dad, when I grow up, I want to be a baby mama, baby daddy. Mom and Dad, when I grow up, I want to be a stripper or incarcerated. I want to be drug addicted or a drug dealer. Mom and Dad, when I grow up, I can't wait to be an alcoholic." No, something happened. Something happened. That is not normal. That is not natural. That is a divide and conquer strategy that causes us to ghost ourselves. So now we're playing small. I'm afraid of people like Tony Jackson and Michelle Mitchell who know all of this financial stuff. And I'm embarrassed about what I'm going and have done in my past. And I don't know about finances and I don't know about digital divides and AI. And so I'm just going to play it small and play it safe, and you
Mm.
die with your music still in you. And that is because of the trauma that has been embedded in you before you got here.
But
Mhm.
And
Dr. Shop,
then, yes, sir. See,
no.
thank you for
So
interrupting me. I told you I can go. I told you what.
no. I'm loving this. Where and this is to me is so educational tonight. And as you were saying a couple things that kind of really hit how we talk about playing it safe, and sometimes it even creates this mistrust that we have with each other.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
But playing it safe in our business, we're afraid to start that business, or we're straight afraid to make that investment. So all this just makes sense. So as you talk about these four traumas, tell us how does that then create, and this is probably where you were going, how does that affect our adapting to technology, things like
Yeah.
AI, and then the other thing is that I'm think a lot about, and I'm involved with a group called Roberts Innovation Group, and we have a gentleman there that's in esports, and he talks a lot about how we are on the consuming side of so many things, like even esports, but we're not on the programming side. We're not on the other side of the table in the creativity of those in the business side. I know that
Absolutely.
was
100%. 100%. Well, that ghosting trauma causes us to fear our future selves. It causes us to fear our potential of what we could become, what we technically should become, right? Poverty is man made. Financial struggle is white man made. It is not a natural occurrence in nature. It is made, it's designed. If you grew up in any type of financial struggle, if you grew up poor, that you're a victim of what's known as axiology, which is part of that epigenetic trait known as redlining, right? So this
mm,
is a divide and conquer strategy that is generational. But there's another divide and conquer strategy that's in place, beloved, known as social amnesia and intergenerational or generational amnesia, where they make sure that the current generation forgets what happened to the previous generation, and the previous generation is disconnected from the current generation. So each generation is isolated and insulated in their own treadmill, running to stand still and never get off. So to answer your question as it relates to technology, what have they done is that they have made us afraid of the dark. They've made us afraid of our own institution. We created everything. Everything that you see is black, black, blackity black, comes from us, by us, for us, by us. We're the first thought, the first idea. When you think of the term made in the image and likeness of, the first thing that comes to your mind is the what we call the white boy on the stick. That's not our God. Our God is black because we were the first. And we don't understand that we have been hijacked as a result of this. AI is I don't know, in metaphysics we call it the Akashic records. It's like we call the sun Ra, and Ra has a memory. Everything is conserved. It's known as the law of conservation. You can look that up. Well, AI and what's known as large language models, or LLM, is like the Akashic records. Everything is in there. Every question you could possibly ask can now be answered, but it can be answered on your cell phone. And that's never happened before. But they want you to be afraid of it because they don't want you to use it to evolve. They want you to use it to devolve and stay in your lane and stay afraid of it. Oh, you're going to lose your job. You're going to lose your income. Your dog is going to leave you. If you do this AI, it's not going to be. It's the devil. It's not right. And so this is what they do to keep us. Just put the devil on it. You ain't got to worry about black people messing with it at all. Okay. Just leave it alone. Okay? But that's why I became a minister first, so I could understand what I'm talking about. Then I got a doctorate, so I could back it up with the literature. So with AI, beloved, it's like, think about this. Okay, so remember when Google came out 25 years ago, right? Google came out and the search engines changed our lives. Some of us was afraid of that. Oh my God, it's the devil, it's the internet. I don't want to mess with any of that stuff. And those people completely fell by the wayside. But Google is like it's like a librarian. Let's say you go to the library and you have a topic or subject that you need to look up because you're gonna either write an essay or you got to do something that you need to get some information on. So you go to the librarian and you say, I need to learn a little bit about philosophy, a little bit about psychology. I want to study Christianity. I want to study theology and okay. So then the librarian goes on the little computer or in their index and whatever, and they say, okay, well, there's some books over here in this section. There's some books over here in that section, and there's some books around the corner in the back. And then you spend your time with the little index card going around looking for each book, and then you got to go and pull the book out and look at it and find the references and all that. Well, guess who the books are? The books are AI. The books are Chat GPT, large language model. Your question that you ask Chat GPT makes you the librarian.
Wow.
So now you have
just
a
that
power
simple
that you've never had before.
Wow. Because it's so funny you say that. I don't know about you, Michelle, but we had the Black America Encyclopedia.
Yeah.
Right? And that's where I first learned about Martin Luther King, in the Black America Encyclopedia, right?
Yeah.
So
That's right.
so AI gives me access to that encyclopedia electronically, right? So your Google. And as you were saying that, man, I was thinking about, in this world that we live in, finance and personal finance that I specialize in, and businesses that Michelle is like that. You talked about the being on the treadmill and not from one generation to the next. That's what happens, is that we talk about generational wealth, but it's just talk because we don't know how to get off the wheel. We don't know how to turn the
We
wheel.
don't even on a treadmill, bro.
Right. We don't know how to turn the wheel into a staircase.
That's right.
Right.
We got to take that wheel and we got to unroll it and make it a staircase.
Right.
And I heard this the other day, and I'm going to give my pastor credit for it. He said that our job is not to stay where Big Mama dropped us off.
Nice.
And I'm
I like that.
That will come up again, right?
Yeah.
That's deep. So here we outlaid the problem. We got about five
She
minutes.
says, now I'm a librarian. Love
Love it. Cheryl is a now librarian. Love
Yeah,
it.
library in your pocket.
In your pocket, right?
Yeah.
Right
That's right.
here, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
So,
yes.
so, so here's the thing. We've outlaid this problem. What do we do about
Hey,
it, Dr.
hey,
Chalk? What do we do about it? What's step number one? And we got about 5 minutes left. What now do we do about it?
well, first, you need to go and download. You need to go to OpenAI dot. I think it's OpenAI.com, and you need to download ChatGPT and start
Mhm.
asking it questions.
Yeah.
And the reason I got a PhD in philosophy is because philosophy is the mother science. The mother science. In order for you to have any other discipline or science, theology or biology, you have to first ask the question. Philosophers
Mhm.
ask the question. And so, what I want my people to learn how to do is ask the question, or what we call a quest ion. I want you to send a question to the as below the Akashic records known as a Chat GPT, and
Mhm.
start asking the questions and getting the knowledge, and stop being afraid to grow. Every question that you could possibly want to know is at your fingertips. And
Yes.
so, with brother Jimmy J. Davies, what I'm doing is I'm teaming up with him. I call him Jimmy Jam, and I'm Terry Lewis. So we're Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis of AI. And so what we're doing is we're going to be teaching for 3 hours on the 27th, Saturday, at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So I think that's 2 p.m. you guys on Eastern. And we're going to go in it. So he's going to go through all of the ethical issues and all the fears and the trepidations of da 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 da. And then I am going to have you on your chat GPT type it, and I'm going to show you the questions to ask it. I'm going to unlock it for you and change your world. I've done this so many times, and what I love about it, when my students, they just have these huge aha moments. And I've done this with people from literally 8 to 80, actually 90. I had a 90-year-old
Mm.
that did this course with me, and it blew her mind. Can you imagine? So that's what I want the community to understand, is that this is for us, by us, and we must take control of it. Otherwise, it will take control of us.
I
Love it,
love
man.
that. I love
That's a
that.
that's a great way to. That's a mic dropping statement right there, all
Yes.
by itself. Is that if we say that again, Dr. Shock, say that again.
Yeah, let me try to figure that out. Right now, if we do not take control of AI, it will take control of us.
That
There
is
it
true.
is. There it
Yes,
is. There
that
it
is
is.
so true.
So a couple things. There you go, Dante. Right.
I like that. I don't know who's doing it. I like that. I love this show. I want to be back here. What y'all doing tomorrow? I want to be back here tomorrow. This is great.
So Dr. Shock, for the Every Dot Black thing that they're doing on the
Yes.
27th, I'm sure that people can go to Every Dot Black and get that information.
Yeah, and I put in the matter of fact, let me see. I don't know if it works on my end. Can I put it in the chat?
Well, let's pull it up on the screen, Dante. I think he might have had some
I
information
put in
there.
I put in the private chat the um the link to register. Let me put it.
Yeah.
See if that
Okay.
works on my end. I don't know if it goes to everybody and populates, but that's where you register. And here's the thing. The books that you see behind me are the books of the first. So the first book, the orange book to my right, is the Black AI Jedi, and it's the first book of its kind ever written for Black homeschooling.
Mhm.
So all of the mothers, and homeschooling is becoming a huge thing. But how do you teach your children if you are not able to teach or don't know yourself? 2020 hit us, and it hit us very hard academically, not just economically. And so what I wanted to do is that for the kids who had special needs, those who have been told that they can't learn or have learning disorders, I can teach them and show them that nothing's wrong with you. You do not have a disorder. You just have to change, and ChatGPT does that. It will work with you. It will help you with your homework. It will help you with your assignments. It will help you become what it is that you've always meant to be. We were born, as I say, gods and goddesses. We are systematically taught how to be thugs, thoughts, B's and H's and baby mamas and baby daddies. That's not who we are. There are no N words in the divine. There's no N. We're not those N words. You understand what I'm saying? That doesn't. We are made or
Does
manufactured
it?
for that. So the second book is the AI Jedi book for seniors, for Black seniors to be able to go in and know how to navigate using AI and release the fear from it. You can go on Amazon and get those. And then the third book was how to do research without a master's degree or a PhD, and how to get questions answered, and how to look things up and where to go. I'm trying to have the tagline is having an unfair advantage, Michelle and Tony. I want my people to have an unfair advantage. I want my babies to have an unfair advantage. Why? Because when has America ever been fair to us? It is time for us to take the reins and to get our 40 acres and a mule, if you will. And so, for those who are disadvantaged, for those who come from homes like myself, my parents were illiterate and poor. I never imagined that I would grow up and become a reverend doctor. Are you kidding me? A PhD insane in the membrane. And I did it before AI came out. I'm really upset about it because if I had it, I would have had it. Let's tell the story. I'll come back for that story later.
Well, we go, hey, Dr. Shot. The one thing that we are going to do is we're going to have you back on the show. We're going to do that. And I just want to thank you so much. So if someone wants to get in touch with you, how would they do that if they wanted to connect with you?
Yeah, well, there it is on the screen, patreon.com/RevShock, patreon.com/RevShock. And so I'm really looking forward to all of you participating. Go in there, get that information. It's a lot of it, whether you're a free member or paid member. Of course, paid members get more information, but there's a plethora of content for everyone to be able to get. And I want to see both of you next Saturday with me and brother Jimmy J. Davies.
Awesome. Listen, we'll post that in our private Facebook group. If you're listening tonight and you're a follower of Dr. Shock or what have you, make sure you go to our Facebook, the Real Money Coach community, join that community. And also, please go to our YouTube page, subscribe to the YouTube page, the Real Money Coach, YouTube/the Real Money Coach, so that you can be informed when we bring other great guests, thought leaders, and their perspective fields here on the Real Money Coach Show. And Dr. Shock, you did not disappoint tonight at all.
Nope.
And we got to cut it off because this has got to be like a cliffhanger, like who shot JR? You know, I'm aging myself when I say that, right? Who shot JR, so that we can bring you back for part 2, right? We're going to bring you back for part 2. You and I will get together and talk about when and how we're going to do that. Again, thank you so much for just being here and being a part of the show tonight. Michelle, what do you think? I mean, this time is going by really fast tonight.
This is amazing. People need to know about ChatGPT, and they need to know how they can use it to leverage their life. Period.
Absolutely.
Yes, because once you ask Chat the right questions, you can tell Chat to ask you questions that you didn't even think about asking it.
Come on now. That's it. That's it.
And that's how we learn.
So don't be afraid of it, y'all. Dig in,
Don't be
use
afraid
it
of
to
it.
your advantage. The little I know about ChatGPT done been a life changer. So with that, everyone, I want you to have a very, very, very good night. Remember to subscribe to the YouTube page. That if you go to the YouTube page, you'll get the live show as well as the podcast, also available on all podcasting platforms. You have been watching and listening to the Real Money Coach Show. Thank you so much for being here, Dr. Shot. Peace, my brother. Michelle, thank you as always.
Peace.
Everybody have
Love
a good
you guys.
night.
You're doing great
All
work.
right.
You're doing great work.
Thank
you. Take care, everybody.